My name is Linda Lewis, and you're watching Belizean Legends.
This is Belizean Legends, and today we'll be speaking with the legendary Belizean softball pitcher, Linda Lewis, who was the star pitcher in the 1974 Central American and Caribbean Games, where Belize won the gold medal in that softball competition. Linda Lewis, I want to welcome you to Belizean Legends and the documentary When We Were Queens. You were the star pitcher, according to Raymond Lashley, when Isolene Heat couldn't take it to the fray. You stepped up as the next best pitcher. Talk about that specific moment in the 1974 Central American game, and what did you put into your pitching that made Belize defeated all those teams that came forth that time?
Well, at that time, I was just one of the extra players that was on the team. I wasn't one of the starters, and so my role in that was to be there to be just a relief pitcher. But in preparation for the games, I'm always prepared to start or prepared to play. So when I was called up, I was very excited, and it was very pleased that I got the opportunity to play. At the time when we played, our motivation was to get on the field to play. We just wanted to play. And when I got the chance, I just did what I was trained to do, because the opportunity to get on the national team was very hard. Growing up, we knew about Consuelo Duval, Judith Lynch, and all that. We always, as little girls, we wanted to be like
You talk about that you were not seen as the pitcher that was supposed to pitch in that game, you were not one of the favorites at the time. But your coach Raymond Lashley said that at that time the ball had to go to you.
Well, I wouldn't say I wasn't. I was one. I would say I was really not one of the favorites. I was not a starter. I was just one of the. When they pick the team, they would pick how many players they pick. I was there pretty much. I didn't even think that I would have had a chance to play. So when the opportunity came, I was all excited, and once I started pitching, I just got in the zone, and the rest is history.
It just happened.
Right.
It was just chemistry. Linda, you stood out in the Belize inter-district competitions in softball at the MCC grounds, those legendary games, where Belize used to play in the cast games. I used to watch you play, watch you pitch, along with Isolene Heat. You were at Rogers Stadium. You were an incredible softball athlete. To say that you were not one of those, you were very popular, and people saw you as this power pitcher. And I can remember being at MCC grounds and watch you pitch when you were practicing in the back to go up into the pitch, and the power when you hear that ball hitting the mitt. There was a power that you had in your pitching.
Yeah, but you did say about those games at MCC ground. When I started, I did not start as a pitcher. I started as an outfielder. So you may not have recalled that, So I played outfielder for a couple times when I first got selected on the first national team, and then afterwards I became a pitcher. I've always wanted to be a pitcher, but everybody just said, "Oh, you're not a pitcher." Da, 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 da. And it started when I started playing with Guinness. We had a junior league team. We had a senior team, Judith Lynch and Deborah Lynch and all those, Miss Borden and all of them, and we were the junior team. And for me I always said I want to get on the team. And so when that same year, Judith and them, they all left. And so for me to play, I said, okay, I'll be the catcher. So I actually started out as a catcher. And then I moved into outfield. But I really wanted to be a pitcher. And I have to give credit to my dad and to Khaled Gill. My dad went to Khaled Gill and asked him, can you train Linda? We used to get up at 4 a.m. in the morning, go to Rogers Stadium, and he trained me, and nobody knows this. Even though I played with Guinness, he's the one that trained me to be.
The incredible Khaled Gill. Talk about him some more, Linda.
Well, he was always on the other side of my team, but he's a distant relative of my mom.
Okay.
And my dad and he worked together at Hofius. And so my dad approached him and said, Linda wants to be a pitcher. And I'm sure even though he knew that I would probably, if I were to become a pitcher, I would be, not playing for him, because obviously I didn't play for him. I played for the other team. He still gave me that, he still trained me to be a pitcher. And I think most of it was my determination to become a pitcher, because I put the time in myself. I was up at 4 a.m. in the morning.
You worked
and
pretty
I was
hard.
Training all the time, and it was the same pitch over and over and over again. And even today when I see great athletes, and people don't know what is behind the scenes.
You see the finished product.
They just see what it happens when they put the trophy up, or what it takes to win. But yeah, that's where my pitching career. But before pitching, I played different, and of course I love to bat. So I was always wanting to do something, and I always would tell people the joke, Mr. Cleveland. I don't know if Cleveland. He was an older coach that we had on the junior team, and I used to always aim at certain targets to say, okay, when he give us pitching, I was a target to put the ball in different areas. And so there's a lot of people in my past that really contributed, kind of gravitated to me and see that I had potentials. And we had another coach, Karas Katuse. I don't know, a lot of people know him in Belize because he was always dedicated to softball. That they took time out with me. We used to stay on the field we used to practice at behind hostel. I don't know what that field is gone or it's houses.
Exactly.
And that's where we used to play, practice on one end, and Landiva football team used to play on the other side, practice on the other side in the dark. We used to be practicing in the dark, I would always say that. So, I actually, we always, I think maybe because we loved the game so much. And then we also wanted to aspire to be like the other great players of their time.
There were role models that you guys were looking up to.
Yeah, very talented role models.
Yeah. How did you get started? Did you start at the high school level?
No, when I moved, we actually we lived in Queen Square area, and one day I was walking by the field, and I just asked the Jenkins. I don't know if you had.
Very much.
The Jenkins.
Yeah, it's right in that area.
And we went over there, and they asked us. We went there and we asked if we could join the team. Like I said, they had a junior team and they had a senior team. So you had Gretel and you had Cynthia. But I never played with. I think Cynthia left just around the time I started. But you had the Lynches were there. They were all the senior ladies that were on the team. So I actually started right there in Hostel Field. We just asked to join the team.
You talk about the work that people like Khalid Gale had put into your time, and people like Brenda Johnson mentioned that he didn't have to do those things because he was a policeman. And she speaks so very highly of him, likewise of someone who got her started.
He was instrumental in my career, but I never played for his team.
He never played for his team.
So
they looked like they were just people who were seeing certain athletes and they see certain things in people.
No, I actually approached him.
Well, you approached him.
That's what I'm saying. We asked him because at this time he had Consuelo Dougal and he I said, let's ask him to train you because that's what I wanted to do. I played for Guinness. I played for the rival team. So I really can't speak of anybody from that team because I don't know. No, I can speak that I know of them. But I have no association with them.
Yes, interesting because when I asked Margaret Tosha also, did Consuelo Dougal have an influence? She said, well, I never did see her.
Right, I saw her briefly.
I was like, wow.
Yeah, I saw her briefly.
Yeah, so she said, no, I was a little girl at the time. I wasn't even going to those games.
She actually, I met her here.
Yeah.
I was sitting at some function here, and I introduced myself to her because she's actually. My dad and her mom are first cousin, and we don't know each other. And I introduced myself, who I am, and I told her. But I think she had not played while I was there. She had left. I know of Heath. She and I were friends.
Yes. Raymond Lashley speaks about the fact that Isolene Heath never wanted to pitch.
Really,
he said that he had all the attributes of a pitcher: tall, from left-handed, right? But you never liked to pitch. And he said, well, then the ball had to be passed on to the next best person, which was you, Linda Lewis.
Yeah. Well, like I said, at the time, I was probably, I was like 17, 18 at the time. So, at the time, during that period, it's not like today, our interests were different. It's you just wanted to be like them. Those were the best players. You want to be in their shoe, but you don't know if you could put your foot in their shoe. So, the opportunity came. And she was a nice, we became friends afterwards. She and Joan Garbutt and all the ladies on the team, we all became very good friends. And there was no animosity for me to be pitching and getting the recognition after the game. So, this wasn't anything.
Linda described that game, or the games that made you softball players. The legendary softball players won the 1974 Central American Games. Give us a little highlight of that whole tournament and how you guys ladies came to win that goal at that time.
Like I said, going in, we started with Isolene and then coming in, but it was a grueling period because we had to play, some days we had to play 2 games, we had to get, there was double. But I think we were all there with the same agenda. We wanted to play. Everybody wanted to play and we wanted to win. We didn't have any other outside agenda. We went there. People went to the games. We went home. We went to rest. So I think just wanting to win was the big.
Charles Solis mentioned that you struck out quite a few of those players in that tournament, and he sees you as, this is our quote, Linda Lewis is the best pitcher of all times. And he speak about the fact that if it was not for you, Belize would not have really won the games. I mean, overall, there are players who participated and everybody contributed significantly. But both Lashley and Charles Solis had mentioned that it was your pitching, your ace pitching, that really took the Belize national team to the gold medal. I mean, can you remember the moments when you struck out these players?
Like I said, just being in the zone and the excitement and the thrill of winning, and thinking of winning this tournament, or the tournament for the country was the most important things in my mind. But I can't remember a lot more about that time, because I guess I haven't, this is maybe the first time I've really talked about it. I remember the parades, and a lot of times I would sit down and I'd watch the pictures of, and we didn't have a lot of pictures of the game, like how now you have videos. You would have had that game would have been videotaped and stuff like that. So I don't really remember much about that, but I do know that even though we were there, I had a lot of fun. I enjoyed playing softball, and that's part of the winning too. If you have to enjoy what you're doing, and like you said, Isolene didn't like to pitch.
Yes.
Obviously, if she loved to pitch, she would have been the one to be pitching those games. But I love to pitch. Yeah. Like I said, I wanted to pitch, and to the point where I pursued it on my own. Yes. I was a catcher. I started out and I wanted to play, and I didn't want to be on the bench. So I said, okay, nobody want to be the pitcher. I'll be the catcher. Yeah. Yeah. And then I ended up in the left field, and then I said, I want to be a pitcher. Yes. And me and my dad went to Mr. Gill, even though he was, Guinness and I forgot the name of his team now. Those our fans.
Coke.
No, it wasn't Coke. I don't know.
Yeah.
Their fans and our fans, they would be like quarreling, and they would not even sit on the same side of the stand. It was so bad,
Yeah.
They would be cursing. and that was the kind of rivalry our teams had back in the day. So for me to go, so I think that's maybe why he trained me at 4 a.m. in the dark,
Yes.
So nobody knew that.
Nobody knew. Nobody knew.
And I don't think maybe besides when you tell this to maybe hear this and people will hear that, not many people know that Mr. Gill actually started
training you, and he has done that to so many people.
Yes.
So many softball greats of Belize identifying talent when he sees it,
Mm-hmm.
We also look at the role that family and fans played in that whole era, because at this time that fervor, that passion for softballing of Belizean women has gone. It's not there again. That is an era that looks like it's never going to be repeated again. And so, at the time, you all were world-class softball players. What do you think is the problem there, where softball and players, that is, or women of today, or young women, what do you think is the missing element that maybe they are not at that level? What is it that you guys were doing at your time, in your era, that you find that these young women are not doing today?
Well, number one, most of us were students of the game. We were going to school.
Yes.
We were, we were committed to the game. We went to practice every day. As a matter of fact, if you didn't practice, you don't play. I went to Belize like 3 years ago. I went to Rogers Stadium, and I was there, and I saw there was practice, and I was there. Practice was at 4 o'clock. Somebody's strolling 4:10, 4:30. They come with their babies. They come with their stroller. Those was not the story in my time. I remember one girl had a baby, but all of us, and I'm not saying that it's not a right thing to have families,
Yes.
more power to you if you had,
life goes on.
Because that's a part of our, autonomy when we have children. But if I could remember, most of us had that commitment. We had family support, like you say, and I'm sure maybe that's why, because we were going to high school. That was a high emphasis on most families at that time, that we go to high school. I'm not sure what the statistics is in Belize now, because I haven't lived here for over 30 years, so I cannot say what it is. But as I look back, not many of us had children, so we had time and commitment to the game. Now, if you have children, you have to bring your children, or you don't have a baby, So I'm not knocking this fact that we didn't have children. It's not that's not an issue, because it is what it is. But we had family support. I know when we were going to those games, my mom used to have dinner sales, so I could get pocket money. We had, you remember sell dinner?
Fundraisers.
So we had fun. My mom had fundraiser for me to have money to go. And this was the same for most people. So the family support was there for all of us. And like I say, I cannot comment on what it is in Belize. I'm not there, so I don't know. Like I always tell people, we shared a 25-cent slice of cheese with around 6 of us. We were happy and we loved each other. So I'm not sure what it is, but that has a lot of impact on what it is, because I can't commit my time to softball if I don't have the resource or the time to do so. So maybe there has to be some kind of incentive or some kind of support to go along with it as well.
Yes. When I was there, I was at Rogers Stadium. I was fortunate to be there at the time when there was a primary school inter-district softball competition going on, and 2 of the last final teams were playing at Rogers Stadium. And the little school, Muslim school in the Lake Independent, in the Port Loyola area, won the competition. And I looked at them and I said, man, these are simple little kids from the neighborhoods. Mm-hmm. And you see the passion for the sport. And I looked at it and I said, this is maybe the passion that the 1974 gold medalist they had and the 1979 Pan American bronze medalist they had. And I said, it's not all lost, because they won and they beat all the teams in the entire country. And they're simple little girls and they're little coaches, simple people.
See, I think that's the right, right thing you said, passion.
Yeah.
That's the right word that you just chose.
Yes.
Because if you don't have passion for anything,
Yeah, there you go. You're not going to really excel at it. And also, Linda, beside the passion too, you all had a sense of discipline. I have heard most of you talk about the same thing, and you just said the same thing. You go to school. Players talk about, we had to go to school, some of us work. What was that discipline coming from? Was it the way you were raised or something?
Yeah, this was a discipline. Like you say, I'll sit back today and I wonder, what time did we have to sweep the floor before we went to school?
Yes.
What time we had to wash the dishes before we get back to go back in the afternoon after lunch. And of course, the discipline, like you say, I remember, like I told you, I was on the junior team, and we used to play around, and we were there and it was dark, and Carrots was our coach, wanted the bat and the gloves because it wasn't ours, and we were playing around, and we didn't want to we weren't ready to go home, and he told us something, and I told him I was rude to him. He went and told my mom. My mom said, "You're never gonna play softball no more." And she didn't allow me to go back till
consequences.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So even though I told him he need to go, because he need, I don't have to repeat what I told him, but nothing. I didn't use any direct, just told him about his hygiene.
Yes.
And that was it. My mom said, no, you can't go back. You can't be, rude to people. You have to be respectful of your own. So I always tell people that joke that I almost didn't play softball because I was rude to my coach.
There was discipline in the home.
Yes.
And manners was a highly regarded thing, and discipline, respect for your elders. Talk about the reception when you players came back after you won the gold medal. Bonnie Ramdas and them speak about that nostalgia, that moment when they walk off the plane.
Oh yeah, it was incredible. The reception, the once we got off, we were shocked to find that practically the whole country was there at the airport to greet us. And then we had the parade and the whole hoopla that followed when we did what we did, because we loved what we did and enjoyed what we did. So that was.
I remember as a boy in Standard 6, our teachers lining us up on the side and watching these greats. Man, that was a feeling to see that your country has achieved something at that highest level.
Barbara made that sound.
Yes. Those were moments that needs to be cherished. I would say, Linda Lewis, that the 1974 Belize softball team that won the gold in the Central American and Caribbean Games go side by side with the 1979 Belize national selection that won bronze, that beat the United States in the Pan American Games. These were two, and I have said it to most Belizean sports enthusiasts, Belize have never achieved anything in any other sport like what it had achieved in softball. That was our first gold medal ever, the 1974 Central American Games. No other sport, basketball, football, cricket, none of those had took us to that level. And then the 1979 Belize softball team beat the greatest softball team in the world, the United States, Orlando Rebels, And many of my sports enthusiasts says, well, football was such, but our Belizean women took Belize to the highest level of sports ever in our entire country.
Well, I think, when I started playing softball, we had a good football team, but I don't think we went international, so maybe they didn't have the opportunity to display their talents as well. But and we got the opportunity, so we were fortunate. But I remember because I used to go to MCC ground every Sunday to watch football.
Yes.
Nobody could stop me from going. But I wish, I know there's a lot of talent in Belize as we speak. And you just, like you say, to get it out, to find those people that are passionate about what they did, and we have to help those people too, because we say that it's not easy to dedicate yourself to a sport when you have to, cost of living, and you have to do things to stay up.
And at that time, the Belizean families were not rich. They were just simple, common people, but was able to put out that sense of excellence in sports. That today they are more better off today. The quality of life, the earning power and everything is much, much more at a higher level. But yet we seems not to be able to duplicate what that period of time that you ladies did. Raymond Lashley mentioned that he's the unorthodox player, the unorthodox coach. He takes chances, risks. He speaks of the fact that the 1974 gold medal was won on a gut feeling from his point of view as the legendary coach that coached that national selection. He spoke about the fact that Colette Gale and others would not take the chance. They were not risk coaches. And I call him the unorthodox one, because he said that I'm unorthodox. I would do things that no other coach would do. I would take risk. I would gamble. He said, and he felt that competition was won from that standpoint, from that point of view. Talk about Raymond Lashley as a coach and the impact that he had on you as a pitcher.
Well, I could not comment on what the coach is. At that time, like I said, our focus was playing softball. But as I remember, when I was playing with the other teams in the competition, it was probably risk-taking that allowed him to excel in his craft. You know, he would go out to the country. He brought in the likes of Dorette and Grace Banner. You know, that's risk-taking. Bringing somebody from the country, finding accommodations in the city for them to stay.
He had a good scouting.
You know, nobody went in. You know, you look at that. You had another vision that the other coaches did not have. So during the game, my focus was different, and you know, I cannot see what he's done, but I can see from other things that he did, like I say, you know, because, you know, at one point he came to my family and said, would you have the rest stay with you guys? So that's a risk. We bring somebody from the country,
from the villages,
and find a place for them to live. And so he went beyond and above his call of duty to find players for his team to win. So that is a risk taker, and is, like you said, an unorthodox coach. Because which other coach you look back in your history and see which other coach had players that are from the other districts in Belize. And I could focus back on our team. We had nobody. Everybody was from Belize City. You look at Miss Johnson, ask her who came from another part. All his players, I would say 80% of his players were from the country. So that is my, thing about, so that is, I cannot comment on coaching because at that time, you're not worried about. You just wanted to play.
We were just
play and make sure you play good because you know what's happening. You're gonna be sitting on the bench.
That's what most of the ladies said. That if you're not playing good, you're going to sit on the bench. And Brother Johnson says, I didn't want to sit on no bench.
Right.
So I sat on the bench for a long time.
So that's the only thing I would say in unorthodox about him, that he wanted to get the edge, so he went and find.
Yes. Yes. I also talk about Coach Charles Solis. What kind of impact did he have in your life, if any, as a softball player? As one of Belize's most excellent coaches at that time.
He was an excellent coach. He was. I also consider. Well, I can't see him as a friend, but I would always be able to talk to him about different things, what he would think. I would go out to the ice cream shop at night and hang out, and we'd talk about the games. He would give me history of the game because he had a lot of history of the game. But all in all, he was very knowledgeable and helped me as well.
I want to begin to wrap up, Linda. When we look at the appreciation for what you guys have done, what you softball players have done for Belize, you were inducted into the Softball Hall of Fame along with many other players, Margaret Usher as a pitcher and many others. Do you feel that one of the reasons why you players excelled so well at that time, apart from the passion that you had for the sport and the discipline of training at home, you also feel that there was also a deep interest from government to invest in its athletes at that time, why you were so successful?
I don't recall any kind of government involvement in our sport. So, like I said, most of our funding was from, like, my mom raised funds, the team raised funds. I'm sure they got funding from the government. I was never involved at that level to know any of that, so I can't comment because I don't know. I never really seen any public figure like that at our game, So,
and at that time, you all were playing ball, but you all were not paying attention to who is investing in what. You all just loved the game. The game was fun. You were playing. You were enjoying.
Like I always tell people, my dad was PUP and my mom was NIP, so we were. we were
careless about politics.
We are not politics, you know.
Yeah, you were just putting out your best in the game itself.
We didn't. Politics was very much in Belize, you know. Albert Tattoos is my granduncle.
Albert Tattoos again.
And you know, so it's like politics was never on my, you know, it was just, and you know, my passion was softball, and that was the only thing I see. I was fortunate too at the time when I played softball. Mr. Isaac was the chief pharmacist at the hospital. He asked me, "Do you want to go to pharmacy school in Belize?" I said yes, and you know, I'm thankful to him. And I have a career in pharmacy. I own a pharmacy, and the rest is history. So softball has done a lot for me, I could say.
Very much so, very much. What's your impressions of the teams that came to play Belize in the Central American and Caribbean Games, or in the competitions that I saw you pitched in? Bermuda, Bahamas, Jamaica. We remember Miami and all these teams, right?
Looked like they were always like, we were always thinking, damn, these are big women. They were like, they were already rated highly. So coming into Belize, we thought that, you know, we had to really fight to win. And, you know, most of the time, like I say, you know, the exposure we got, I think, was the real thing. It came why most of us were so passionate, because we saw the level of competition. Yeah. You know, because they had those teams coming in often. Yes. We saw those girls on the field under the lights at MCC Ground. But my first international travel was to Bermuda, and I always tell people, I say, I need to go back to Bermuda. Always, you know, the first time you leave your country, that's the first, you always have a big, so, and that was my first game that I played internationally.
In Bermuda. Did you guys win that game?
Yes, we did. Wow. So we did good there too. And,
beat them on their home court.
And so, you know, since I left Belize, I don't really haven't gotten any involvement with softball, and not because I don't want to, or just that life is different here, you know.
Yes. And Louis, finally, how would you want to contribute in bringing back that great period of softball greatness that you were an intricate part of? How are you contributing in making a difference today? And also, what message do you have for the young upcoming aspiring softball players in Belize today?
At this time, I have not kept in touch with softball in Belize. I oftentimes, now and again I would speak with Patrick Henry, but I have not really contributed anything to softball in Belize. When Mr. Lashley was I would help sometimes get some equipment and stuff for them. But all I would say, you know, if you're passionate about, and this goes for anything in life, if you're passionate, you need to go for it. And like I said, I don't know what the situation in Belize, you know, the youth there. Somebody has to go in and put some interest into the sport. Somebody needs to go in there and infuse some money, because of course we need to buy the equipment and the uniforms and whatever it takes, and just change the whole mentality to get back the discipline and the reverence for the game.
Brenda Johnson speaks about the fact that she, though at the age she wants to go back to coaching again. She said it's hard for her to watch them, a lot of them go astray. And she feels that she's prompted to still want to go out there and just take a group of girls and coach them in the game to show them how to play it the right way again.
Well, you know, the thing is, this time is changed. You know, we can't approach these young people the same as we do. The whole time has changed. They see things differently from we do. So the approach has to be different. So good luck to her.
And it was hope when I saw the Port Loyola team from the Muslim school won that competition that day. And there was hope there. And I saw the Linda Lewises and the Bonnie Ramdases and the Isoline Heats and a lot of those young girls at that time. Linda Lewis, I want to thank you very much for coming and speaking with us and giving us your take and your knowledge and remembrance of the nostalgia of that great moment of the 1974 Central American Games and sharing with our viewers the times of softball greatness that Belize experienced and was able to enjoy, that took it to the greatest level of sports ever in that entire country. And this has been Belizean Legends, and we were speaking with the legendary pitcher, the 1976-74 gold medalist Linda Lewis, on here on Belizean Legends.
My name is Linda Lewis, and you're watching Belizean Legends.